Median Australian wages have risen every single year for the past decade. Every single year. And yet, home ownership among Australians under 40 is at its lowest point in 60 years. Sit with that contradiction, because both things are true, simultaneously, right now. The data says we're doing better than ever. But something underneath, something that doesn't appear in the official numbers, is coming apart. Most people can feel it. They just haven't found the words for it yet. Picture a couple, both working, good jobs, no kids, renting in Sydney at 34. From the outside, they look fine. And they are fine. That's the part that makes this so difficult to explain. They are not struggling. They are not failing. They are just not getting anywhere. Here's what nobody tells you about a rising salary. The number goes up, but what that number can actually do, steadily, almost invisibly, goes down. In 2005, a household income of $100,000 in Sydney meant a mortgage was roughly 4 times your annual earnings. Today, that same income sits against a mortgage closer to 10 times. The number on your payslip didn't betray you. The ratio did. Wages grew in dollar terms, costs grew faster in real terms, and the space between them, the space where a life used to be built, slowly, without announcement, closed. This is the salary illusion. The dial moves, the ground doesn't. And here's the part that should make you stop. The people feeling this most aren't who you'd expect. The most financially pressured Australians right now aren't the ones who fell behind. They're the ones who followed every instruction. The degree, the promotion, the salary review. They track their spending, contribute to super every fortnight, make sensible decisions consistently, and they still look at the property market and feel something close to vertigo. Because at some point, and no one can name exactly when, the housing market stopped being about housing. It became the primary engine of generational wealth in this country, and then it split Australia into 2 completely different realities. Those who bought before 2010 are sitting on life-changing equity. Some own multiple properties now. They didn't necessarily earn more. They didn't sacrifice more. They didn't have sharper instincts. They just arrived earlier. Those who didn't, they're paying for it, literally, every single week, in rent, to someone who did. That should sound straightforward. It doesn't feel that way when you're the one writing the check. But this is where it gets harder to look away. As salaries rose, so did the cost of inhabiting a normal life. The streaming services, the gym, the dinner out that doesn't feel like an occasion anymore. It just feels like a Wednesday, a weekend away, a flight. None of it is reckless. All of it, compounded, is expensive. And without a single dramatic decision, the line between living comfortably and building wealth quietly separated. Most people only notice when they look back and realize the 2 paths diverged years ago, and they were on the wrong one without ever choosing it. Then there's superannuation, and this is the part people carry around without speaking. The retirement safety net felt reassuring at 25. By 38, the maths of it starts to feel like a polite fiction, because it assumes a version of retirement that may not exist for a generation currently renting in cities where entry-level housing already costs close to $1 million. The numbers don't reconcile. People sense this. They do the rough arithmetic at 11 p.m. and then close the calculator app and go to sleep. Because what else do you do with that? This is where the story turns. Pull back from the individual, because the moment you do, the whole picture shifts. This was never about personal failure. Not really. The system was not broken. It was working exactly as structured, just not for the people earning, for the people owning. Wage growth and wealth growth are now 2 entirely separate conversations. A salary funds a life, an asset builds a future, and every year, fewer Australians have assets. Australia's total wealth is growing. The country is genuinely, measurably richer. But it is concentrating. The top 20% of Australians now hold 63% of the country's net wealth. The bottom 40% hold less than 4%. Less than 4%. And here is the number that reframes everything. The single most wealth-generating action available to an Australian today has nothing to do with career performance, savings discipline, or financial literacy. It's having bought property 15 years ago. The people winning this game aren't smarter. They aren't more patient. They didn't act on rare conviction. They were already there. Beneath all of this, beneath the property gap, the rental trap, the super anxiety, there is something that almost never gets said in public. The exhaustion. The specific private exhaustion of someone earning well, living responsibly, doing everything the right way, and feeling somewhere beneath the surface like none of it is actually moving. The numbers look fine, the feeling doesn't match, And the distance between those two things is where the real damage accumulates. There is an invisible ceiling in this story, a point where earning more stops feeling like progress, because every raise is absorbed before it lands. Costs expand to fill available income. The gap between where you are and where you expected to be stays exactly the same, no matter how fast you move. And then there is the architecture underneath it. Capital gains on investment properties in Australia are taxed at half the rate of labor income. Half. The country legislates this. It places a lighter burden on wealth that grows while you sleep than on work that requires your time, your energy, your years. That is not a loophole. That is the design. Australians who bought in the 80s and 90s are not villains. That distinction matters. But they are, structurally and without malice, the beneficiaries of a door that has since closed. And every dollar paid in rent is a dollar constructing someone else's equity, someone else's asset, someone else's future, while the renter ends the week no closer to their own. A generation isn't struggling because it's soft. It's exhausted because the race was restructured after it began, and no one said anything. Think about a 38-year-old. Good income, stable relationship, healthy, travels when they can, pays taxes without drama, did everything the way it was supposed to be done. Nothing owned, not broken, not reckless, just stuck. And the feeling isn't anger. It's something quieter and harder to put down. It's grief. The grief of watching something that felt possible for a long time become, slowly and without ceremony, unreachable. Not through failure, not through a single wrong turn. Through time and timing. At what point does working harder stop being the answer? There is no resolution to that question. This isn't that kind of story. Pull out wide. Australia is one of the wealthiest nations on Earth. Median net wealth here ranks among the highest globally. By nearly every external measure, the country is thriving. But wealth and feeling wealthy have quietly come apart. And almost no one, in the conversations that actually shape things, acknowledges that gap honestly. A generation is rewriting what a good life looks like, not by choice, because the previous version became unaffordable before they could reach it. Less ownership, more uncertainty. The same ambition, running on something that keeps getting harder to find. There's no clean villain in this story, just a system that moved in a particular direction, and a generation that arrived after the best conditions had already passed. We were told that if we worked hard enough, we could have what our parents had. Nobody mentioned the price had already changed.